Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In today's video, we are going to discuss about the tropical monsoon climate, what are the major characteristics of this climatic type, where it is found, and what are the different kinds of economic activities, natural vegetation that we can associate with this particular climate. So first of all, to give you a brief introduction about this kind of climate, we can say that this particular climate has been classified by Vladimir Koppen, and he has characterized tropical monsoon climate with small annual temperature ranges. That means the difference of maximum and minimum temperature within a year is less, and high temperatures, especially in the summer, and plentiful precipitation or rainfall. Second, we can also say that this particular climatic region is influenced by the movement of ITCZ, that is Intertropical Convergence Zone, which is a low pressure belt that generally develops around the equatorial areas. And also, this climatic region remains hot and humid almost throughout the year because for a larger part of the year, sun remains overhead in this particular region. The most important term that we can associate with this climate is obviously monsoon, and monsoon has come from the Arabic word that is Monsson. And Arabian traders, what they mean by word Monsson, they simply mean it that there is a seasonal reversal of winds that they are experiencing within the Indian Ocean between summer and winter. And the last point what we have to remember is as far as this tropical monsoon climate is concerned, it has three very distinct seasons: the summer season, then we have followed by rainy season, and which is then followed by the cold or winter season. Now, if you look at that where this climatic region has developed extensively, so as we can see that largely it has developed in the Indian subcontinent and part of Southeast Asia, extending all the way up to the eastern coast of China. Not only that, even if you look at in the northern part of Australia, we see the development of tropical monsoon climate. As far as the other part of the world is concerned, such as a small strip of land in South America, a small strip of land on the eastern coast of Africa, the entire island of Madagascar, and even a small part of land in the northwestern coast of Australia, it also experiences a slight variant of tropical monsoon climate, which is called as tropical marine climate. Because obviously, due to the nearness to the coastal areas, the maritime influence is quite stronger in this region, and that is why we see a slight deviation from the characteristics of the monsoon climate. So let us first try to understand the word monsoon itself. What does it signify? So as we have discussed, it simply means seasonal reversal of winds. Now, how and where seasonal reversal of wind happens here? So we know that sun does not have fixed position as far as the earth is concerned. It keeps on moving between tropic of Cancer in the northern hemisphere, tropic of Capricorn in the southern hemisphere, and while doing so it crosses over the equator twice. Now suppose when we have the summer season in the northern hemisphere, sun is moving toward tropic of Cancer. So when the sun is moving toward tropic of Cancer, in that case the entire area which is situated in tropic of Cancer, that also includes the Indian landmass, will be very strongly heated. So when the area is very strongly heated, what we can understand that high temperature conditions prevailing on the surface will create a low pressure condition. And thus, as we can see, during the summertime, entire South Asian continent or entire Indian subcontinent has a very low pressure region that develops on the land. And due to the development of this low pressure area, the nearby area which is surrounded by water, surrounded by the ocean, like Indian and Pacific Ocean from all sides. So wind start to move toward these land masses, and thus this is what we refer as southwest monsoon because the direction of wind is southwesterly in nature. On the other hand, if you look at the winter season, during winter season, sun has moved toward Tropic of Capricorn. That means it is far, far away from the Indian subcontinent and Asian land masses. Due to this, the entire landmass undergoes cooling, and here we have development of low temperature like conditions. Now, obviously, we know the relation that whenever we have low temperature on the surface, it creates a high pressure condition. And thus, during the winter, we have the winds that move from the landmass toward this oceanic areas, that is from the high pressure to low pressure region. And this leads to development of the monsoon, which is referred as northeast monsoon because the direction of movement of wind, especially in Indian subcontinent, is northeasterly in nature. And that is why from winter to summer, we can see the shift in the wind direction from northeast to southwest and further from southwest to northeast. And this is the brief mechanism of monsoon that Indian subcontinent experiences. So, what are the major climatic characteristics that we can attribute to the climatic region of tropical monsoon climate? So, first of all, as we know that this area experiences very warm to hot summers, and temperature in the summer season can go between somewhere between 30 degree to 45 degrees Celsius, and even many places such as in North India and West India, temperature reaches 46, 47 degrees Celsius as well. On the other hand, if you talk about winter temperature in average we can consider it to be somewhere around 15 degree to 30 degrees Celsius. However, we have to take into account the maritime influence that coastal areas experiences, and that is why the cities such as Mumbai, Chennai, and Mangalore, these cities experiences relatively higher temperature even during winter and lower temperature even during summer. But the areas which are were located deep inside the continental landmasses such as Delhi, Allahabad, Kanpur, Chandigarh, these kind of cities experiences very high temperature during the summer and very low temperature during the winter. Now, what about the precipitations? As we have discussed, this area is influenced by the monsoon mechanism, and that is why during the southwesterly monsoon, when the wind is moving from Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal toward the Indian subcontinent, a very high rainfall is observed for few months, mainly between July to September, and average annual rainfall of the entire Indian subcontinent can be considered to be somewhere about 200 to 250 centimeters. However, in the northeastern part of India, in the state of Meghalaya, we also have some places such as Monsson and Cherrapunji, which are considered as the wettest place on the earth because these places receive heaviest rainfall in the entire world. And average rainfall of these locations go well beyond 1100 centimeters. That is almost 5 times higher than the average annual rainfall of the entire Indian subcontinent. The most important characteristic of tropical monsoon climate is that it has three distinct seasons. For example, between March to mid-June, when the sun is moving from equator to our tropic of Cancer, the entire landmass is strongly heated, and this is the time which is referred as hot and dry season because there is a lack of rainfall, there is a less amount of water vapor, and temperature obviously is soaring high. Then between mid-June to mid-September, as the southwesterly monsoon will start to enter into the Indian subcontinent, we have a beginning of rainy season and which begins with the monsoon burst. The monsoon burst is a term that is referred to a sudden arrival of monsoon and very heavy short duration rainfall that goes on in the entire landmass, especially in the peninsular India, and this marks the arrival of monsoon. Further, between October to February, as the sun starts its journey backward toward equator and further toward Tropic of Capricorn, what we see is that we have the season that refers to the retreating monsoon. That means the southwesterly monsoon that were entering India from the Indian Ocean now start to retreat back. Now these winds start to move back, and thus this also marks the beginning of the cold season where the temperature reaches even 3-4 degrees Celsius in the January month in the northern part of India. So these are the three distinct seasons covering the entire 12 month in the particular climatic region. So what about the natural vegetation of these particular regions? So first of all, as the entire area receives somewhere an average 200 to 400 centimeters of rainfall, there's a large diversity in the natural vegetation. But overall, if you look at from the perspective of the percentage area being covered by what kind of forest, so it is the tropical deciduous monsoon forest that cover more than 80% of the entire Indian subcontinent. And the most important trees that you will find in this region is teak and sal trees, which are very important from economic perspective as well, as these trees have broader leaf and they also have hardwood stem, and that is why they are also referred as broadleaf hardwood trees. And these trees they shed their leaves in the month of autumn when there is a deficiency of rainfall. However, as we know that the rainfall pattern is not same everywhere in India, we also see a variation where, for example, in the areas such as northeastern India where you have very heavy rainfall, or in the western slope of Western Ghat where you have very heavy rainfall, you'll find very dense forest even similar to the rain forest of the equator, and that is why you'll also have tropical rain forest in some of the areas of India. And some areas such as Rajasthan or the eastern slope of the Western Ghat, we have very less rainfall, and these areas are covered by thorny scrublands that resemble the savanna region of African grassland. So a huge diversity we can see in the terms of natural vegetation as well. However, the dominant vegetation can be characterized as tropical deciduous monsoon trees. Now, what about the economic life of people in this region? So, as we know that here the temperature is obviously very high and remains moderate throughout the year. Rainfall is very heavier, especially during the rainy season, and that is why the entire region, especially where the alluvial fertile soils are found, we see the people carrying out subsistence intensive kind of agriculture. Subsistence agriculture means where the crop is being grown mainly for the self consumption purposes of the farmer or his family. Intensive agriculture means the crop or the focus is given to increasing the yield per hectare wherever the sowing is done, and that you can see is markedly different from the steppe kind of climate where we have talked about that we have extensive and commercial exploitation and commercial agriculture that is being practiced. If you look at the northern India, the plains of northern India, the cereals are the major crops that is grown here. And apart from that, in those areas such as the eastern part or around the river valleys, we also see the cultivation of sugar cane and jute, because all these are very water intensive crops. They require huge amount of water, huge volume of water for irrigation for their growth and survival. But on the other hand, if you look at the eastern part of India, which is mountainous region, plateau region, and the southern part of India, which is also peninsular plateau. So in these highland regions, rather than growing of cereal crops, plantation agriculture is more common, and you'll see plantations of tea, coffee, and rubber as the most common crops that is grown in these particular regions. Not only that, as we have discussed, that in these areas, as you can see, this is the picture that shows you plantation crops. Here we are seeing the jute that is being cultivated largely in the state of West Bengal, where we have huge amount of water available from the Ganga and Brahmaputra river, and then rice farming, paddy cultivation that is being done in the plain areas of North India. However, as you know that the trees that is found here in highest number is teak and sal trees, and since they have very hardwood kind of characteristics, these trees are in very high demand for the timber industries, and thus lumbering has also emerged as a significant economic activity in many regions of the tropical monsoon climate, and these trees are sold at very high prices for the commercial purposes. So that is all about this particular climatic region. I hope you understood about the nitty-gritties of tropical monsoon climate. That is all for this video. Thank you very much. If you like the video, please hit the like button, share it with your fellow aspirants, as well as subscribe to our channel for more such content.